Cardiovascular Institute of the South is celebrating 40 years of delivering healthcare to our patients and communities. Founded by Dr. Craig Walker in 1983 and guided by a mission to provide the highest quality cardiovascular care available, CIS has pioneered hundreds of firsts to improve outcomes for cardiovascular diseases. Through new technology, virtual care, outpatient procedures, and national growth, CIS is improving lives and leading the way for advanced care and innovation.
Everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. Harry McCullough here. You know, if you're a teacher and you receive a pension, you can't receive your spouse's Social Security down the road. It's part of the government pension offset that a lot of senators, including Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, has come up with a Social Security Fairness Act. It's waiting to be voted on in the Senate, but they haven't yet. So Bill Cassidy went to the microphone and talked to his colleagues about getting that act voted on.
But we have serious legislation that will help millions of Americans that the House overwhelmingly passed in mid-November, sent it to the Senate, and it's waiting for a vote. And I'm speaking of the Social Security Fairness Act, which repeals the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset, or WEP and GPO. Now, this is something which affects my state in Louisiana, affects the president's state, the president of the Senate state, California. We're particularly affected, but so are others, Texas and Illinois, Massachusetts, Maine, New York, New Jersey, I could go down, both blue states and red states. And it recognizes first that Social Security is a sacred trust between generations, a promise to workers that when they retire, they will not live in poverty. But right now, Social Security's future is in danger. According to the people who run this program, if Social Security does nothing, the Social Security Trust Fund will be busted in 9 years, flat bankrupt. And then there will be an automatic 20 to 24% cut in benefits for everyone receiving Social and for those who will receive it in the future. Someone once said, well, won't I be grandfathered in? And she was a female, so I said, I think you mean grandmothered in, but it doesn't matter. No. If you're already on Social, you get a 24% cut. So, I will state here, we must save, strengthen, secure Social Security. And I'm pleased to say there's a plan to do so. But one thing what we cannot do as we work to save Social Security is perpetuate an unfairness, an injustice that began decades ago. This unfairness targets people who have dedicated their lives to serving communities and on a state or local level, such as first responders and teachers. So today, we can take a step towards that fairness. We can repeal two unfair Social Security provisions within the Social Security, with the Social Security Fairness Act, if the majority leader schedules a vote. WEP and GPO penalizes families, and I've already mentioned, particularly in states like Louisiana, California, Maine, Texas, who have worked a public service job for part of their career with a separate pension from Social Security. We're talking about first responders, the police officers, the firefighters, but also the teachers and other public employees who are being punished for serving their communities. How do we get here? WEP and GPO were introduced decades ago to address perceived inequalities in the Social Security system, but they've had the opposite effect of creating real, tangible inequalities. When my firefighters, police officers, and teachers in Louisiana have a second job or a second career or get married, they are being unfairly punished, receiving far less from Social Security than if they had never worked in public service at all. And that's not right. WEP reduces the earned Social Security benefits of individuals who also receive a pension from a non-Social Security covered job. This has resulted in thousands who have paid into the system during their career receiving a significantly reduced Social Security benefit when they retire. GPO reduces earned Social Security spousal or survivor benefits for individuals who also receive a government pension. This prevention can reduce or even eliminate the Social Security benefits that a spouse or widow might have expected and relied upon, public servant spouses would receive more than if they had never worked at all. Let me repeat that. You have a teacher married to someone who's got a great job. He dies, and she doesn't receive but a fraction of the Social Security benefit that she would have received from her husband's Social Security benefit. As a guy who used to work in a hospital for the uninsured run by the state, I worked with lots of nurses. I consistently hear from the people I worked with and from constituents that they feel like they're being punished for serving community. And that's in Louisiana, but it's for public servants across the country who feel the exact same way. WEP and GPO affect Americans in every single state. And there is no excuse to treat our public servants this way. It should never become law, but we have an opportunity to fix it. In mid-November, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the Social Security Fairness Act. As a longtime original co-sponsor of the Senate version, I've been waiting to proudly vote yes and finally repeal WEP and GPO. Instead, day after day, Senate Democrats have focused their attention on ramming through partisan nominees rather than passing serious legislation. And if it sounds like I'm frustrated, I am. We owe it to every public servant who has taught our kids, protected our streets, run into a burning building, and more to pass this bill. The time for theater is through. It's time to get serious and vote on legislation that matters. I am ready to vote yes on the Social Security Fairness Act and repeal WEP and GPO for people in Louisiana and for Americans across the country. So I call upon the Majority Leader to schedule a vote on the Social Security Fairness Act, and I urge colleagues to join in supporting. With that, I yield.
All right, it'll be interesting to see what they do in Washington with a lame duck president who's now, I guess, in Angola, and his biggest thing is something to do with his family right now. So it'll be interesting if they'll vote on any of this stuff, but we'll see, and we'll be here to cover it. That'll do it for this edition of Bayou Time. I'm Harry McCullough. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.